everyone, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing not really a new series, but a reboot series, and it is called Roleplay How To. It is a tutorial series that will explain to you everything you need to know about getting started in making your own roleplay. It is a collaborative series between Megan Is Not Dumb, myself, and Lo-Fi Cold. It's not meant to tell you how to make your own roleplay, and if you have other ways of doing it that work for you, that is perfectly fine. It is just how we personally create our own roleplays. So, and we just felt like we could share that with you guys. The first episode is script writing. So, script writing is the most important factor, as it covers the story and showcases the characters to the audience. But due to this, it can actually be the most difficult part to overcome, because of, I don't know, like, you're not that great with writing. It can fall to motivation as well as like general difficulty, because writing a story is really hard because you have to go into a lot of detail. I like to find inspiration when I start roleplaying. There are many ways to get inspired, however the most notable ways that I find are through watching movies and TV series. For example, 𝙁𝙊𝙍 is inspired by Pretty Little Liars. Then you can be inspired by books. I know Angel's Touch is inspired by a book. And I know Cold likes to get inspired for her content through music. Inspiration is always okay, as long as you aren't directly copying someone's work. For example, watching another creator's roleplay, then plagiarizing it yourself. Personally, I don't support plagiarism. I don't know why anyone would, but again, copying someone's work is not heavy inspiration. It is copying, and it should not be done. To avoid this, whilst coming up with a plotline, I avoid watching any other roleplays altogether. So like, if I'm coming up with a story and I see a nicer roleplay that I want to watch on YouTube, I'll add it to my save later, and when I'm finished plotting my roleplay out, then I'm gonna go back and watch it, just because I want to avoid any like random memories or plot points of that roleplay going in my head than me thinking that I've just come up with it myself and writing it down. Then we have genre. The first thing I like to do when making a roleplay is decide what the roleplay type will be. Will it be high school, medieval, fantasy? And if you know that, for example, you want to do a high school roleplay, you can do two things from this point. You could, one, find some inspiration from specific books, shows, movies relating to your theme, but please, I stress this heavily, please make sure you like it, because you are stuck with this for the rest of your roleplay. I have rushed plots before from inspiration from series that I guess I didn't like because I got so bored of these roleplays. So yeah, please make sure you like it. And two, you can list common themes and conventions of the genre in like a Google Docs or something, and you can use those points to make a basic plot, which is what I will be showing you right now. Here I am in an empty Google Doc, but it's not really empty, and I'm going to be showing you how I would plan a basic outline for a roleplay. So the first thing, as I said before, I'm going to start listing key themes, conventions, and just general ideas of the high school roleplay genre. For example, we could have fitting in, which would relate to, I don't know, maybe like the new girl comes into school and she's not really sure what's going on. She doesn't really have friends, and she needs to find some friends, which she can do through social groups and cliques, which are a big, they're a big thing in like high school movies. So I thought I'd add that too. Then we've got stuff like romance, which could tie in with like prom. Are they preparing for an end of year prom? We've got personal conflicts with like your peers. We could have some like bullying going on, which would relate to mental health. Mental health. All I'm gonna say about mental health is, if you are gonna do it, please do adequate research, because you don't want to offend anybody. I would also probably add illegal substances / parties. I would definitely put parties in there, but if I were to do illegal substances, I wouldn't do it. But if you were to do it and you really felt like you could showcase some character development, or maybe a story that's personal to you through this, I would probably put an age restriction on the roleplay then, or at least a viewer discretion warning at the beginning because, you know, heavy topics involved. So now you have your key ideas. You want to put together some sort of a plot with all of these points. Not all of them, you don't need to use all of them. Just use some of these points and put together a basic idea. So here you can see I've come up with a little idea. It's not that good, okay, I spent like 5 minutes on it. But we have girl who suffers from depression transfers to a new school hoping for a new start due to bullying at her previous institution. She doesn't want people to know of her conditions, so she attempts to mask her feelings with bad behavior in order to fit in. She develops a crush on a girl she meets at a party, but will she be able to see herself for more than just her mask? And it is to include overcoming bullies as well as personal conflict with sexuality, but I didn't get to adding all of that in. As you can see, I bolded and color-coded which parts relate to which points. For example, a new girl tries to fit in would be fitting in. Social groups would probably also be trying to fit in as well. Party, crush, romance. Then we have overcoming bullies, which would probably be one of these or one of these, and then personal conflicts, which is blue. Now we've done the plot outline, I would move on to the characters and episode plot lines. So I'm going to come back to characters, but for episode plot lines, you want to detailedly bullet point out what is going to happen in the episode. For example, I have here the XOXO episode 1 bullet point plan, and what I did was I wrote a plan. I did end up changing a few things, but it's just like a basic outline so I know what's going to happen in the episode. And what I like to do is, as I'm writing, I'll just highlight which parts I have covered and highlight them in green, just so I can be like, oh, I've already written this bit, so I can move on to the next bullet point. So we have episode starts at school. Chaya, Talia, and Valencia and Estella are talking at a table by the school field whilst the boys play soccer. They talk about Chaya's party. Chaya can't hold the party at her house. They have to do it at Talia's house. Chaya offers to help set up. At the party, Chaya and Talia are setting up and they have a disagreement. Chaya leaves and says she'll return later once the party has started. Valencia, Kaz, West and Estella arrive just as it starts. Talia asks where Chaya is, but nobody is sure. They wait an hour and party in the meantime. Midway through the party, all three girls receive a text at the same time in which the same tone Chaya texts in. It ends with -XOXO, which is the girls' emergency help code. The cryptic message tells them to go to Chaya's favourite place. Valencia and Talia don't know where that is, but Estella was close, so she leads them to the river where they find her body. Now, I don't know, I read that so badly, but that is, as you can see, it's quite detailed and it does cover every single point, which is what you would want to do. For example, you could episode starts at MC's house. She's I don't know, she's saying goodbye to her parents as she leaves for school, expressing her nerves and discomfort. Just for like the idea of an opening scene, and then you would probably go MC arrives at school, and then, you know, if she's gonna make a friend, you would probably write that down. But yeah, as you do see, it has to be quite detailed because when you start writing, you are going to be following this word from word. Coming back to characters, as you can see, I've written out just a few tropes from high school movies, TV shows, books, and other role plays. And I've come up with a list of characters which we would probably need to add. So we've obviously got the confused new student who doesn't know anyone, they don't even know their way around the school, and they usually develop a peppy best friend. They're really high energy but supportive when they need to be. Or you could go down a different route and you could make them a negative best friend. And by negative best friend, I don't mean one that hates them. I mean a character that isn't as high energy and peppy. So it's like almost the complete opposite, but they're still the friend that will give you support when you need it. Then there's the outer friend group. The MC would be friends with them, obviously, but wouldn't feel as if they could tell all of their secrets and most inner feelings to them. Then we have the love interest. The love interest usually isn't friends with the main character, and the main character's like, oh my god, who is that? Or you could go down another route. You could do the, I don't know, you could either do like childhood friends. You could do main character, so they're friends with the main character, and then the friends develop more into more than friends, you know. Then we've got the popular group, the bullies, my favorite. I do not like bullies, I do not condone bullying, but I usually find that they are the most interesting characters because they're written with so much dimension. Like, on the surface they're these evil, like, popular, manipulative characters. Then on the inside you see that there's usually more to them. There's something going on maybe in their personal life that is making them this way, which is why I personally love them, because there's so much you can do with them, and by altering the behavior of the bullies you can kind of like move the entire roleplay, or like change the direction and the course, which I think is really good. Lastly, we have the actual script itself, and this is the XOXO episode 1 script, and I'll be showing you how I formatted it, what it looks like, stuff to include. So obviously first you would want your title, XOXO episode 1 Minecraft Roleplay, just so people actually know what they're doing. Then characters present. I like to color code this to make it easier for the voice actors to spot their character, so they don't have to literally read through the whole thing just to find their lines, especially if they have very few. I don't find it fair on them to have to go through a whole like 20 pages just to find 2 lines, so I like to color code everything, and it's also pretty. But yeah, so here we have scene 1. Then we have where. This is important because when you're then recording your roleplay, you just look at this and you're like, okay, this is where I need to go. When sets the time of day / time set. Then weather would be, is it clear, is it sunny, is it raining, is it foggy? Then characters included in the scene, again, so your voice actor knows, am I in the scene, do I need to read this? And we have 𝙁𝙁𝙁𝙁𝙁, 𝙁𝙁𝙁𝙁, 𝘾𝘊𝙉, and West. So first off, we have the stage directions. I start every single scene off with stage directions just so I know how to set the scene up, because if I don't have stage directions and I don't know how to set the scene up, if I set it up in a different way, some of the dialogue down here might not make sense, which is why I always include this. So we have 𝙁𝙁, 𝙁𝙁, and 𝘾𝘊𝙉 all sat at a park bench in the school courtyard. It doesn't need to be too detailed, but it kind of needs to give you that where and who that the scene block also tells you. Kaz and West are playing soccer, just so we know that they aren't in frame with the girls and they come in later. 𝙁𝙁 walks up to the bench and sits down beside the girls, so we would know that 𝙁𝙁 probably isn't with them already. Then we have our dialogue. So what I like to do here is I will write the character's name, obviously color coded, and her line is, "Hey girly pops, love the new fit of Stella." So in these brackets right here, I like to add emotions so the voice actor knows how to say the line. And it also works for if you want the voice actor to say it in a specific way. You don't always need brackets if the characters are just talking casually. I just like to include them just to make sense. For example, normal, and then we have the reactions of the other characters, which I would recommend having the reactions of the characters match the emotion from the line above, just to make it sequence well into each other. For example, excited would be, "Hey girly pops, oh love the new fit of Stella," like something like that. And then like if you changed it to like upset, you'd be like, "Hey girly pops, love the new fit of Stella." I don't know, something like that. I'm not a professional voice actor, guys. I really need someone like Megan doing this. But the emotion in the bracket can change the entire scene. So yeah, and when I'm done with the scene, I would probably just add another scene block and a dash so the voice actors know that that is the end of the scene. I also like to end off my scripts with camera panning up to the sky, but of course you don't need to do that because that probably wouldn't really work in like an action roleplay. You'd probably want like a slap, like cut right out or something like that. But that's just what I like to do to nicely give a close to the roleplay, give some time for your end card and the little title cards that come in front. So I just like to do that. I would probably recommend about 5 to 6 scenes an episode. It really depends how long they are. For me, about 19 pages would usually be about 18 to 20 minutes. But for some reason with XOXO episode 1 it was 10. I think my cuts were too fast with that episode personally. But a 13 page script is usually about 10 minutes. But that would mean if you're using size 14.5 with the same font with single gaps in between each line. For a roleplay length, I would probably suggest 12 to 15. You don't want to go too long because that's when people get bored, and you don't want to go too short because you probably won't cover enough. If you have done a really detailed plan and your episode only comes out to 5 minutes, or if your script is very short, then you probably haven't included enough points or gone over them with as much detail as you could have. But guys, that is how I would script write and write a Minecraft roleplay. So thank you for watching. I hope it has been informative for you. If you have any other questions, just leave those in the comments. Any other requests, if you join our Discord server, you can put some ideas in the questions chat. We read over that every single day. Thank you for watching my episode. The next episode will be covered by Megan, and it will be thumbnail, and I'll see you guys in another video. Goodbye.